Our next storyteller, Ajay Nair, a tale of perseverance and luck on Interstate 95.
Thank you, Michael. I hope you enjoyed the story so far and other stories to come, including mine. So let's do it. Through this story, I want to highlight the core value and importance of determination and perseverance. And together with a sprinkle of luck, could be a driving force in our day-to-day lives, including research, teaching, extension, and mentoring. My research journey begins on 25th of December 2003, the day of Christmas. Yes, the day when we all wait for Santa to come to us, I decided to come to Santa, Maine, the snowy wonderland. So this picture here shows my state here. It's a tropical state, coconut and other things, but as you can see, I made that maiden flight, reached Maine. Can we call this my first act of determination and persistence to pursue a graduate program, disregarding the almost 70 to 90 degree difference between Kerala and Maine? Maine was beautiful, with its crisp and fragrant springs, vivid summers, colorful fall, and not to miss the bone-chilling winter. So let's look at Maine. That's the black bear. And it's really beautiful out there. Whether you want to climb famous lighthouses or climb a few thousand feet up Maine's majestic mountains, there was always something exciting to do in Maine. Now let us talk about the topic, right? The Interstate, a tale of perseverance and luck on Interstate 95. Now we all have we have a love and hate relationship with the Dwight D. Eisenhower interstate system. We hate it when we are on it and we are stuck in traffic, and we love it when we zoom across it and reach to our locations and destinations within hours. If you ask me, I think for a graduate student, it is an escape system for an overworked, over-caffeinated, under-pressure graduate student work who thinks, lives, and breathes research. While in the lab, in the middle of experiments, or writing a manuscript, or preparing a poster, that quick search on Google Maps is like a dream come true. As a graduate student, even though one will not be going to these destinations in the near future, isn't it joyful and amazing to know that this interstate system can whisk us away from boredom, lab, to beautiful and exciting places? My graduate work focused on an ornamental tree called Stewardia pseudocamellia. A multi-stemmed, deciduous tree, Stewardia features stunning bark, gorgeous red to orange fall color, and glamorous white camellia-like flowers. So this is the flower of Stewardia. One of the major challenges with Stewardia is its propagation. At University of Maine, as a graduate student, I was joining a large body of researchers across United States who were grappling with the question of how to propagate Stewardia pseudocamellia. I made several trips to Arnold Arboretum, Boston, to solve this question and get these cuttings, these hardwood, softwood, semi-hardwood cuttings to propagate Stewardia, but nothing worked. Then my major professor hinted at tissue culture, which commonly refers to culture of cells on an artificial growing medium. I knew about tissue culture, but had no experience working in it. I am sorry, it was a steep learning curve, I should admit, but I stuck to it. My major professor suggested that I should take some courses in tissue culture, which I did diligently, again, perseverance. Then came time to conduct these experiments with Stewardia, for which I had to embark on a 1 hour and 19-minute drive to a town called Island Falls, which is north of Orono. Or you can call it Wilderness too. Anything north of Orono is wilderness. University of Maine had a tissue culture laboratory with a technician named Susan Ballou. So I was assigned to that lab, and I had to make this journey many times to go to this research lab and conduct tissue culture work. When you are in Island Falls, you are in Aroostook County, Maine, the largest potato-producing county at that time in the country. So this picture shows you Orono here, and you go up in the wilderness up here in Island Falls. You are in a potato wonderland, and more close to New Brunswick, Canada than Orono, Maine. As my graduate program progressed, I made friends with Susan, learned about tissue culture, and also learned about some of the chilling and frightening bear stories. And made many trips to Island Falls, but this trip in October 2015 is unforgettable. And the central piece of the story, it was, as always, a spectacular fall with bright orange, yellow, and red foliage on maples, oaks, elm, and birch, in dramatic contrast against the blue waters of the Atlantic Ocean and the numerous lakes and ponds in Maine. Since I was going to work a little longer that day in the lab, in the tissue culture lab, Susan gave me a rundown of how to shut down the lab and equipment and shut the door behind when I leave. I finished my tissue culture work by 4 p.m., kind of night time for Maine standards. Made sure I grabbed everything and then pulled the door shut. I transferred all tools and supplies to this U-Maine truck and started driving south. After passing through several bends and curves in Island Falls, and Island Falls is up here, there is a big sign that announces Interstate 95 South, Augusta, Orono, Maine, and Bangor too. After driving on the interstate for some time, I realized that I was missing my blue carabiner clip, which carried all my keys from my lab, from my apartment, from my field, the farm. As a serious, hardworking, and committed graduate student, I carried close to 10 keys in that carabiner. Soon, the key audit flashed in my mind. I'm sure you get that email from FP&M asking about your keys, right? That email from FP&M that wants you to confirm that we all have the keys we were assigned to when we started here at ISU. And then you start doing the math of the missing keys times $1.50 as a replacement fee, the total cost, and then finally peace and solace that retirement is 30 years away. Well, back to my story. So I quickly realized that I might have dropped the keys in the parking lot of the tissue culture facility or the center. Given it is northern Maine, the time of the evening, there would be no vehicle, moose, deer, fly, or a human, let alone cops, to catch me if I turn around on the interstate using that median which says for authorized vehicles only. Anyways, I did it. And I was soon racing back to the tissue culture facility, full throttle, as I was looking. I was losing the last bit of daylight, which would be life-saving to find those keys in the parking lot. I searched frantically, but could not find it. Then, another flash. I remembered placing the keys on the hood of the truck before loading my stuff. Oh no. So did I drive with the keys on the hood and the keys dropped by the side of the road? Determination, grit, perseverance kicked in. There was no way I was leaving Island Falls without my keys. I decided to spend the night in the truck. It was cold. It was chilling. It was not a good idea. Especially after listening to Susan's bear stories, it felt like I was the main character in Stephen King's next novel, Bear with the Graduate. Bear with the Graduate. But I persevered. Next morning, I searched the parking lot and then started walking on the road, hoping to see my blue carabiner lying on the side of the road. I got weird looks from Maine potato farmers who were wondering what I was doing by the side of the road. Again, this is northern Maine. The only two things that walk by the side of the road are deer and moose. I meandered along the road and finally reached the exit sign, which again said Interstate 95 South. My heart sank. I was disappointed. I was sad because, one, I took that unauthorized turn yesterday in the evening. I spent the night there without finding my keys, and now, on top of this, the key audit. Nevertheless, I'll race through here quickly. Nevertheless, I garnered enough courage and hopped into the truck and started driving back to Orono. Island Falls will never be the same. This will be the place where I tried hard, but I failed. The departed soul of my tough, sturdy, strong carabiner will never forgive me. This is going to be a painful 1 hour and 19-minute drive, 86 miles to Orono, Maine. I once again see the interstate sign. I start driving on it. I was frustrated that how careless I was to leave the keys on the hood of the truck. I drive about 10 to 15 miles on the interstate, thinking the same and frustrated. And another flash, this time with a blue shade. Are those my keys lying there? Am I dreaming? Is it some kind of magic? Believe me or not, I had a strong feeling that I just spotted my keys on Interstate 95. I quickly pulled over. Now what? Another unauthorized turn? Or this time maybe a reverse? I have gone so far in pursuit of my keys. A reverse on the interstate was the final straw. Again, since it is northern Maine, it was early morning, there was no vehicle, moose, deer, fly, or a human, let alone cops. I put the truck in reverse gear and started driving. After driving few minutes, I stopped, stepped out of the truck, and walked towards the shiny blue object sitting on the middle of the road on Interstate 95. Is this fantasy? Is this a dream? Or is it God's gift to my steadfastness and perseverance and determination? Yes, you are correct. There lay my keys beaming broadly at me on that cold Maine morning, happy to return to its owner. The carabiner, a bit damaged, maybe because of a 80,000-pound potato truck, Maine potato truck, but it was still okay. It came back to me. I found my keys on Interstate 95. Full of joy, ecstasy, happiness, I drove back to Orono and told everything to my major professor. The first thing I said, he said, "Why did you come to me? Go directly and buy a Powerball lottery." I should have done that. And he said, "Well, buy one for me too. This is a good day for you." After that day, I continued my tissue culture work, made several more trips to Island Falls, which for me now was a place of hope, courage, determination, and perseverance. Since that incident, I firmly believe that hard work and perseverance will always pay off in everything you do, day-to-day life, research, extension, teaching, mentoring. If there is a will, there is a way. I graduated from Maine, finished my PhD at Michigan State, and moved to Iowa State University, of course carrying that strong belief. Here at Iowa State University, I closely work with my colleagues, grad students, extension specialists, and other researchers, and strive to help the Iowa vegetable growers here in the state. And some of the amazing graduate students which I have had for the last 7 years. I hope that I'm able to instill the Maine determination, commitment, passion, steadfastness, and perseverance in my graduate and undergraduate students. I hope one day they will also have a story to share with their students, peers, and friends. With that feeling, every time I drive on Interstate 35 or 80, I'm waiting for my next adventure. Thank you very much.